Ag tilu is ag thro, a caihan an tida a law.
Now here's one here. Liam Maher and Jimmy Tipping os Lurgan. Gleann da Loch Nejog da de Hocht. Just go through, let me have that one.
Jimmy Tipping came up from Lurgan.
So who was Jimmy Tipping now?
Jimmy Tipping was a friend of John Joe Murray.
Oh, right, that was the Murray from Armagh, was it?
Yeah.
Right.
And he come up with this day with a new car that he had, which was a Citroen. But the Citroens at that time were very near to the ground.
Right.
And he asked me, would my father like to come on the trip with him? And I said, well, sure, you might as well. And we went around on the trip. And I remember I was dressed in a summer frock and slippers. And when we got to the place, Mahery Moore was the place we went.
What do you call it?
Mahery Moore for dinner.
Mahery Moore.
Yeah.
Where's that? In Glendalough, is it?
No, it's in Wicklow on the way home.
Right.
And we walked in, and the fellow said, oh, nobody's allowed in here unless you're dressed for dinner. And Jimmy said to him, is our money not as good as anybody else's? The northern fellow, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So Jimmy said, so they said, oh, that's not the question.
And you said you were dressed in slippers?
I was slippers.
Why is the slippers on you for outdoors?
Well, sandals.
All right, okay, yeah. All right.
And I would had a summer frock.
Right.
But anyway, we got in and we had our dinner there. And Jimmy, of course, wanted to be awkward. And he asked for salmon. And he couldn't have it. And he kept asking for things he couldn't have.
Right.
And eventually, he was probably dead now.
He wasn't a customs man now, was he?
No.
And John Joe Murray, how did you get to know him then? Or?
Well, John Joe Murray was in prison with Jack and those.
Jack is your uncle, Jack?
Yeah.
And he was in prison in the Civil War, is it? Or what made Civil War?
They were in prison with the War of Independence. And then they were in prison with the Free Staters.
Right.
So they were in prison twice.
And is that how you got to know John Joe Murray then, was it?
No, I knew John Joe Murray. They used to always come to Dunleary on holidays. And I met them down here one day. And Mrs. Murray said, you're always saying you'll come to us, but you never give a specific time. So I'd like to tie you down and to come with the two children. And she was delighted to show the children off as Irish speakers.
And where were they living?
In Lurgan.
In Lurgan, okay. Right.
So we went up, and Mrs. Murray was a trained teacher in the north. But when the Civil War ended, no, the War of Independence, there was there were two police forces. There was the local police and there was the IRA police.
In where? In the south?
Yeah.
Right.
And they were under orders not to cooperate with either. They had to deal with things on their own.
Who had that?
With
Ray guys or the other fellas?
If anybody came to them looking for assistance, they would expect to deal with it themselves.
Which, the police or the The IRA fellas.
The IRA fellas.
Okay, right.
And then the others would deal with it in their way. But I remember Jack saying to us, one instruction they got, never come between a man and his wife. And that always stayed with me. But we knew John Joe from that time. And John Joe was very far into the GAA and the North. And Alf Murray was his nephew.
Alf Murray from Dundalk.
No, Alf Murray from Armagh.
Right.
He was president of the Gaelic League at the GAA at one stage.
Right.
But when we went up to Mrs. Murray, you see, it's very hard to know what to bring if you're going to spend a fortnight there, particularly when there's nobody in the house.
Right. It was just you and
The children.
even more, is it?
Yeah,
Right. So what year was this?
1950.
Right.
I haven't any photos of that, but we have. They had a beautiful garden, and they had a beautiful home, And Mrs. Murray said to me, "Do you want a piano? Because I'll get you one if you want it." And I said, "Well, I suppose it'd be a big thing to move if we're moving." And she had played the piano as a young girl, and she wanted that the children should have the opportunity. So I wouldn't consider that. Apart from that, Liam wouldn't countenance having a piano in the house, having taken it over the border.
All right.
So Mrs. Murray said, "If you want anything that you can take over the border, I'll see to it that you get it." Well, I said, "What we'll want now, we're expecting Cullum, and what we want now is a new pram for Cullum, and all the apparel that goes with it." So when Cullum was born, he thought it'd be a girl, of course, and he was dressed out in pink. But he was, we got a new pram. Ní Costa was what it was called, and they didn't know what it meant.
Knee Costa?
Yeah,
Costa the knee on.
yeah.
Right.
So they didn't know what it was, so we got a lovely pram and a basket and everything that went with it. And it was such that I could drop down the front of it and put some child sitting on it.
Right.
And somebody else, probably you were sitting on it, and NASA would be walking. And when they we went over to Pettigo, we had all those things. See, Cullum was very young when we went over to Pettigo. So we had one there. It was great, pram. I gave it to Mrs. Monaghan afterwards. But that was how we knew her. But we went up and we had a wonderful holiday with her. And Liam, Kiva was scared of the driller at the time, the driller on the roads.
Right.
And she would, anytime she heard the driller, she'd be scared. So that was that.
This was recorded with Maura E. Gógáin on Friday the 17th of June 2011.